Hi, welcome back to AG Engineering. I'm Aid. I've got a Norton head little job today that I've got set up on the mill behind the camera there. It's got a broken off spark plug in it. So without messing around too much, I'll do a bit of handheld camera work here and show you where I'm up to so far. Okay, there is a broken spark plug down that hole there. I've had a little bit of a pick. I thought it might be helicoiled as well, but I think it's just the shell of the spark plug. If that's showing up on the camera, let me just grab a torch. So there we are. If we could see that, I don't know how that's shown up on the video. So that's our task, to get that out. Setting this up is not the easiest thing to do. The spark plugs are obviously in the cylinder head at an angle, and the angle of the spark plugs in relation to the sort of square, if you like, there's the front of the head. Obviously they're sort of set back and going in like that. So as you've seen on previous videos, I've got my my little angle plate there, which has proved really useful for cylinder head work. As you've no doubt seen, I did the Trident head on it. I've done other heads on it as well. A twin or a triple head at the right sort of spacing is about the limit of this angle plate. Adjustable angle plate. If I'd got a bigger head, I'd probably have to bolt it straight to the bed and alter the mill head itself, which I don't like doing because it's always awkward retramming these, although this mill does move quite nicely compared to some. Round the back there, if you can see on that handle just on there, as you undo a couple of things the other side, a couple of clamps the other side, and turn that, the whole head will do that sort of thing. So it's not too bad, but as I say, if you can avoid having to unset the mill, it's better too. So looking at this head, one of the problems is how do I bolt it to here. We've got a 3/8 stud there through into the T-slot on that part, and then round here we're off the edge of the angle plate there, so we've got a clamp that shows. We've got a clamp, a stud under there, through stud, a clamp, another clamp as a spacer, and a little piece of aluminium packing, and it's just under the edge of the cylinder head gasket face there. So I'm not really nailing down on these bolts, so we don't want to do any other damage. And if we look from this direction, we've got this angle plate set up parallel with the bed, and I've just been playing around off camera before I started recording and getting this face where the rocker shafts go through and the rocker plates, or on the opposite of this side, also parallel running with the bed. The reason for that is that this spark plug hole here, if you project a line outwards, is at 90 degrees to that face. So the biggest problem is getting that. If you imagine it, it can pivot, but I can swing that around its own axis, and you can end up with a hole going sort of like that type of thing in an arc. So you've got to get a reference of what's 90 degrees and what's parallel with the bed plate of the mill, And that's the setup. And then I've got a dial test indicator on there, and if we move that along there, it's not a completely flat surface. Remembering this is a resolution of 0.01 millimeters, so we've got a little bit of a little bit of a flicker on there, but it's fairly parallel. Yeah. So now what I can do is now tilt the angle plate and get the angle of that correct. So we'll have a look at a couple of ways of doing that. Probably with, it's either got to be a bar in the stud hole, or in there there's a machine true surface like a cylindrical square sticking out and lining up with something, a ground true bar in the chuck there. So I'll dismantle this bit and I'll get to the next stage off camera, and then we'll come back and start filming again. Next step, I've turned a little bit of hexagon bar, just squared it off at the ends there, and that's sitting in where the spark plug recess is, or rather the land just above the spark plug recess, because that's the spark plug recess has got a little bit of damage on it, and both of them areas are both machined sort of flat anyway. So we sit that little bit of hexi bar there like that. We've got a piece of ground true stock in there, and we can bring that up then. And at the moment you can see we're tilted a little bit this way, so we need to go back a fraction and take a table. Bit awkward working around the camera as well here, and I could do with a table with a windy handle on it, because this one just sort of falls away as soon as you start doing the bolts. But they start to get a bit too tall. And then if you can see that in the camera line, let me just move this over a little bit so you're sort of in line with it. More like that. I'm still trying to get in with a spanner. As I bring that up, yeah, so we're still a little bit tilted. Now this is very much by eye method. You could put a dial test indicator in there and run up and down with it and all that, but let's keep it simple for what we're trying to do. Realise why I'm struggling with the spanner. I've got a 19 instead of an 18. These have got funny 18mm headed bolts in. Bring that up again, and we're getting closer. And I think, in all honesty, that'll do us. That there. Yeah, so we're lined up over a length of kind of 4 inches, 3-4 inches. Knit them up. We'll recheck our tables bolted down correctly. Now, somebody noticed the other day those Serpans England Whitworth spanners with a sort of, they're actually quite good, they grip on the flats. They'll be reinvented one day no doubt as a modern invention, but I don't know how old they are. They've been sort of hanging around for years, them ones, but I like them, to be honest. Right, so we're at 90 degrees now to our spark plug surface, so we'll take that out of the way. The next stage we need to do is get us in line over the hole directly. So again, I'll stop the camera for a moment while I just get there or thereabouts, and then we'll come back. So first step is approximate alignment. Try and get the camera in there. That's the advantage of these little GoPros. Using the round bar again, you can see I'm just about in line with the plug hole on in the two directions there. So I'm going to put a milling cutter in. We're M14 by 1.25, is it? So we need a 12.75 drill bit for a threading tap. If we go through at 12mm, because that's a 2-flute cutter I've got, and see how that looks, and then we'll go through a 12.5mm drill and again see how it looks, and just take it in stages. We may end up helicoiling this one anyway. Just before I go through with the 12mm cutter, I just want to go through with this 10mm and just see what that does. Now, I can't get the camera in close enough. I haven't got a long series. I could do with a long series cutters or a selection of these for these sort of jobs. So I can't get you in close enough to actually see the action at the cutting point. So just bear with me. I don't think that's really touching much at all. Serve the actress to the bishop. No, we'll go in there with a 12mm. Just change that cutter. And I've got my little head torch on here, so I can see what's happening. And we need to move over that way a fraction. Very awkward to see what's going on. And what I'm trying to look for is, am I hitting the aluminium? I just want to be hitting the steel part. I'll stop a minute. I'm going to plug the air in the garage. Get the air line going as soon as I put it in. Well, marvellous, wonderful invention. Should have done it years ago. Right, I'll just get me a little inspection mirror, and we'll try and have a look at what's going on there. Ooh. Yeah, not too bad. Quite awkward to see. I don't want to move the setup. Let's take a little bit more. I've got a good view of that side, but not so good view of this way. I've got no view of this way. But we do seem to still be in steel, not into aluminium. Try my best not to hit that alley. Just trying to get you a better shot there. As with all these things, sometimes you hope it'll just grab it and screw it downward. But that's not happening here today. That's it, we're through. I didn't think I was going to get it with that cutter. And if we can see in the mirror, that is where we're up to. So we seem to be reasonably on centre there, and we seem to be reasonably vertical. We haven't got off at any strange angles. Just start to see the crest of the threads on that side nearest to us there. You can see that in the mirror. Now we've got a true hole. The drill will follow that existing hole, that in any silliness off to the side. So we'll see what happens with the drill. This is a 12.5. Right, we'll stop that and check that. If we just about see that in the mirror there, we'll just probably just took the peaks of the threads off. Is that alley or steel there at the top? Maybe alley at the bottom. And over the other side, I've just got my little scribe. Over the other side there, we've got the remains of a thin shell. So I'm just going to try tap that in like that. That's just started to peel that away. And unfortunately it's broken off, so we're not going to get that. Now I could sort of go down the side there, but it does tend to do a little bit of damage. You end up with a few little divots in the thread. I don't think this is quite plain ball. Sometimes you end up taking them out of the mill and sort of piggling about, if you like, but obviously once you've done that you've lost your position. So you sort of dig into the alley. You can get away with a little bit. Another little thread coming off there. If you saw him fall away there. So we've got a slightly thicker bit this side and less less on this other side here. So we were pretty close. We're getting whiskers of it there, but we're going into the aluminium with a punch. Let's drop that tape down a bit. Cover the camera for a moment there and see what's happening. We've got some bits there. Nope, just breaking away. Spark plug material seems to be quite high tensile. So we're getting there. We're getting little bits. Look, there's another little bit of thread there. That's even in focus. And another bit. I think it's just going to continue to break away there. So our options at this stage are to go through with the 12.75 and then see if it'll clean up with a tap. And at the worst, we end up with a helicoil in there. Other sides, not too bad. I wasn't a million miles away. Actually, it's just that little bit that side. So I'll stop the camera again for a moment, and I'll come back when we're set up for the next stage. Right, just had another little go off camera. You see, there's another bit coming. And it is literally coming out in little bits. There she goes, going. There she goes. And then you just got to sort of collapse it inwards. Wiggle it about. There we go. That's about the best video I've ever got of a broken stud or spark plug removal. You were quite lucky there. It's rare to catch them that well. So I've got a reasonable amount of thread there. There might still be some little strands of the other side, so we'll go get ourselves a spark plug tap and see what that looks like. Okay, I've got a tap here. Get some cutting fluid in there, and on a tap, try and make sure we start off square. Just trying to feel my way into that. I don't want to put the tap into the holder there. Now these taps actually haven't got there's the centre at the back of them. Well, none of them. Oh, that one has. Well, that has a little bit. Plug tap, so we can probably start that and just get the spring sensor. Change that out. that in there. Still got up a fraction. Him up there. And this spring loaded centre, see that? Just puts a little bit of force on our tap and keeps us in line, because unfortunately we can't get a tap handle in there very easy. And we'll just run our tap down. And as we turn our tap in, the spring centre pushes it down. Now, senior management will be calling me in a minute because we're supposed to be going out this afternoon. I don't know what order this video is going to appear in, but it's been a bit snowy around here. I have been doing some wheel builds, whether that comes before this or after this video in the order of play, I don't know. Yesterday I finished one wheel build and started another, and I went to start another and the spokes were wrong. I had to nip up and order some more spokes from my friendly neighbourhood motorbike shop. Just shield the camera again. And keep putting a little bit more travel on the spring there. We must be somewhere near now. Still feel it sort of crunching a little bit. That's got to be there. Let's get this out of the way. And take the sharp point out the way. And there we go, if we can see that down there. Not too bad, a few little marks in it, a little bit ragged up at the bottom. We could have a discussion with the owners of this head as to whether they want to proceed in helicoil that now. Some people hate helicoil, some people don't mind, but there's a good enough thread there to get one of the Armstrong sort of thread follower reamer rethread to the helicoil size tools in and follow it down and do a helicoil manually without needing to be set up at this like this on the milling machine. Now you can certainly follow that and keep it square to the hole. So I'm going to leave it at that. So hopefully that has been a useful video, showing you how to do or how I do the setup for these sort of things. Takes a little bit of thinking about sometimes, and yeah, on the whole pretty successful really. I'll get this taken out off here now and move on to the next little task. We've got some what have we got on the list? We've got some fin welding to do again, a couple of heads for fins, and a couple of carburettors with broken off mixer screw and idle screws, a couple of monoblocks. So I'll see whether I video them or not. Depends on time really. So yeah, that's it from me for now, and hope you enjoyed this one, as I say, and as ever, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Subscription is free, it doesn't cost you anything. It's just a tick in a box and you get notifications if you enable them as to when I'm posting a new video. So spread the word, tell your friends, and let's get a bit of knowledge out there on how to do some classic bike repair stuff and machining, etc. Okay, thanks for watching. As ever, bye for now.